When humanity reached the stars, we brought with us our technology, our principles, and our questions. But in Star Trek The Next Generation, one particular being arrived to ask questions of us. His name was Q. Powerful, unpredictable, and deeply curious. Over time, Q became more than just a cosmic annoyance. He became one of the most compelling figures in the Star Trek universe. A character who challenged our assumptions and occasionally even helped us grow. Q's first appearance comes in Encounter at Farpoint, the very beginning of The Next Generation. He halts the Enterprise D and puts Captain Jean-Luc Picard and all humanity on trial. Q accuses us of being dangerous, primitive, and unworthy of exploring space. Picard insists that humanity has evolved beyond its violent past, but Q's not convinced. This sets the tone for their long and complicated relationship. Q is a member of the Q Continuum, a race of omnipotent beings who exist outside the limits of time and space. He can bend reality, travel through dimensions, and manipulate matter effortlessly. But he doesn't use this power to conquer or control. Q is more interested in ideas. He's fascinated by humanity, by our contradictions and growth. Sometimes he tests us, sometimes he mocks us, but his motives are often more complex than they appear. Q's tests aren't always fair. In Q Who, he sends the Enterprise hurtling across the galaxy, straight into the path of the Borg. The message is simple. The universe is dangerous, and Starfleet is not as ready as it thinks. Q forces the crew to confront their limits, and while his methods are harsh, the warning is real. Later, in Tapestry, Q offers Picard a chance to undo a moment from his past, a fight that nearly killed him. Picard accepts, but discovers that without that experience, his life becomes hollow. Q doesn't gloat. He lets Picard draw his own conclusion, that mistakes and even pain are essential to a meaningful life. Q often acts like a trickster, playful, sarcastic, sometimes disruptive, but underneath that persona, he serves as a mirror. He reflects humanity's flaws, but also its strengths. He challenges Starfleet's certainty, its assumption about morality and progress. And through that challenge, characters like Picard and viewers are forced to think more deeply about what it means to be human. In Star Trek Voyager, we learn more about the Q Continuum. They're not gods in the traditional sense. They're a society that has reached the limits of experience. For some members, like Q himself, this leads to boredom. For others, it leads to despair. In one episode, a Q wants to end his existence, and the Continuum is divided on whether to let him. These episodes explore big questions. What does freedom mean when you have everything? What happens when progress becomes impossible? In the final episode of The Next Generation, Q returns to remind Picard that the trial of humanity never truly ended. Evolution, not just biological, but ethical and philosophical, is a process. And Q's interest in humanity isn't rooted in contempt. It's rooted in possibility. For all his tricks and tests, Q constantly shows that he believes humanity might be worth the trouble. That maybe we're capable of something better. Q's not a hero. He's not a villain either. He's a reminder that the journey to understanding and to becoming something more isn't always comfortable, but it is necessary. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more great Star Trek content.